Good morning and welcome back to Morning Joy, where truth matters. I'm your host, Keith Downey, and tomorrow at this time, we're going to be choosing the winner of the 2024 GRN car raffle. So this time tomorrow, tune in for the announcement of that winner. It could be you. It really could. But today, we're talking to an incredible artist. You might have seen him he's all over social media, but many of his cartoons feature storylines with altar boys and nods to the saints, as well as a priest, Father Otto, a priest who encounters the daily chaos of life around him. Josh Masterson. Josh, how are you? Good morning.
I'm good, Keith. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm really excited to be here.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I discovered you on social media and I think on Instagram. And
Mhm.
as a geriatric millennial, I grew up with, the newspaper and especially the Sunday comics. And
Yep.
your artwork is it brings me back. It kind of takes me back to that particular moment as a child. How did so yeah, let's give us a little bit about like the background of the comic and then how your faith inspired you to come up with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So, uh, the Catholic cartoon, that's the name of the comic strip. Not the most creative name ever, I'll have to admit. I started this about 2 years ago, and it was just a time of great discernment for me, of what I wanted to do with my life. I had recently finished high school and stuff at that time. I was even discerning the priesthood too. But anyway, so during that time, I decided to take my gift of drawing cartoons and putting them to use and to share the faith and evangelize using cartoons, but making them the cartoons and comics reminiscent of like you were saying, like those old comics, like from the Sunday funnies that most people grew up reading. So, because I felt like there really wasn't anything like that out there. So I thought it would be like a real niche, unique thing that would really catch people's attentions, whether, Catholic or non-Catholic, right?
Mm.
And so it has. So since I started it 2 years ago, it's really grown a lot. Praise be to God, and it's reached tons and tons of people. Um, but people really love that. The style really draws them in, and I'm able to use that to, um, to teach the truth in the comics, but also just to give people a laugh as well.
Which is very much needed in today's world, without a doubt. So I remember you mentioning your vote, like your discernment, because I think you posted about it. I was like, no, wait, don't go. I was just, but then
Yeah.
you're back, obviously, which is, I'm sure a little bit for you, like, well, this is my vocation now. I'm going to move forward on with,
Right.
whatever you're dealing with. Um, so you mentioned your catechesal, catechetical, kind of educational, but you're also bringing humor into it.
Hmm.
Um, Now, I guess many people don't understand, like, yeah, you do the drawing, but you're coming up with the writing, which I think is probably, personally, I think it's the most difficult part is coming up with an idea and having
I
specific
agree.
panels.
Yeah.
How do you, like, what is your process?
So the process, so yeah, coming up with the jokes, I'd say is the trickiest part. That's the hardest part. Especially because the way I do it is I have it set with 4 panels. So that's like a panel is like that square that we're all used to seeing a comic in. So there's 4 squares. Um, and so that's all I have to tell one joke or tell maybe like a little story or something. So it can be tricky, kind of like scrunching something down into just those 4 panels.
Mm.
But usually, where I get my inspiration. So, I mean, first of all, I grew up reading a ton of comics, so
Mm.
I have experience, I suppose, in regards to how these kind of jokes play out. Um, but a lot of the inspiration I get is just from my own daily life. I was glad to be able to make cartoons about parish life because that's something that I myself am so familiar with. Because I altar serve, I try to go to mass every day, so I experience a lot of the ins and outs of my own parish's day-to-day life. With like the priests, the parishioners, the altar boys. So I have a ton of inspiration just from that in general. Um, but but I've also been given by God a very amazing imagination.
Mm.
And I think imagination is extremely important. Be able to just imagine like a normal day-to-day scene, but kind of I don't know what the right word is, maybe exploit that, kind of exaggerate it
Hmm.
maybe,
Yeah.
just to like bring out that natural humor that's already there in it, bringing that to the attention of people.
Mm. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, you probably could pull a whole bunch of different types of storylines and topics from just serving as an altar server, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
has there been any type of topic that you found challenging to integrate into your comic, and what might it be?
Ooh, okay. This one might be just okay. So, I want to bring the truth into what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Things, some current events, I suppose, that are happening in the church. So, for example, like the March for Life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I implemented the March for Life comic strip into what I did, and I even did like a just a little mini storyline that talked about the pro-life movement a little bit, like the joy of the pro-life movement. Um, so that was challenging, not in really like coming up with the material for it,
Mm-hmm.
but just because I mean, what I'm doing is like it's real. I'm putting that out there, and anyone can see it, anyone at all. Obviously, it received some great feedback, but I'd say that one what might be challenging. It's challenging to do things like that. Just like there's this almost like fear,
Yeah.
like a natural fear from the other side, people who are not going to receive that sort of thing well,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of might lash out against me. Um, so I'd say doing those things that are more like it might be, I guess, it's I suppose like controversial.
Yeah.
Um, I would say the pro-life movement would be a controversial topic, but nonetheless, that's something that as a Catholic, I need to show that this is something I'm supporting. This is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so putting that stuff like that out there is definitely, I'd say, the most challenging, just because there's that natural fear,
Yeah.
um, of a rejection. But uh, I have to push beyond that,
Yeah.
and that I suppose that's a moment of courage. So
Well, you're doing a great job. Okay, you're doing keep up the
thank you.
great work. Okay. So I like how some of the colorful panels that you create sometimes they're black and white. Are you on
Mhm.
print anywhere? Like, do any churches pick you up and have them in their bulletin? Like, where can I mean? I guess where in print can we find your work?
Yeah. So in regards to print, so there are some churches. So I don't know the exact number. I'm not going to be good with that. I think it's about 30 different unique parishes. Most are in the US, and then there's like one in
Hmm.
Belgium, and then there's another in Hungary that
Wow.
they print the comics. Yeah, it's amazing. They print the comics into their bulletins. Um, so whether it's printed black and white or with color, that parish gets to see those comics once a week, which is really cool. It's a huge honor to be able to share the comics with that many people. Um, so there's that. But then I also have recently published a comic book,
Oh.
um, and so that's another. It's like it's a collection book of a bunch of the comics that I've done over the past year. They can be picked up at it's called Voyage Comics.
Hmm.
So I'm really pleased with how that came out. But it's filled to the brim with comics for anyone to enjoy.
That's incredible. So you have a book that
Yes.
will
Yeah.
that's I mean, what a dream to have be able to have a published work
Right.
of your own artwork. That's incredible.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so if a parish, maybe someone that's involved at the parish level, interested in maybe having your cartoon be in the bulletin, they can go to. It looks like we have and then I don't know if it's a hyphen or a dash, but Catholic-cartoon.com. So the hyphen Catholic-cartoon.com. Just I could probably Google it. The Catholic cartoon will pop up.
Right. Yep.
And then you're all on the social media. Is there any other way that people can reach out to you?
Yeah, so I'd say the main way to reach out is definitely through my Instagram. That's where I am. I try to be there every single day, putting a new comic strip out. That's where I'm the most engaging, as well as if you like sent me a message or something. So definitely check me out there. If you don't have social media, you can, as you mentioned, that website. So www.the-catholic-cartoon.com. So you can go ahead and visit there. I will say that website itself has not been updated in a while, so the comics aren't completely up to date. But you can definitely go there, and then you can message me through that website and get in touch and check out more things that I do there.
Awesome. Incredible work. Like I said, it's catechetical, but then also you implement humor and it's visually pleasing. Like we mentioned before, it's like back in the day when you pulled up the Sunday comics and just you're reading them, and incredibly inspirational work you're doing, Josh. Is there anything in the lines for the future of the Catholic Cartoonist? Anything in the works?
Well, lots more comics for sure. They're gonna keep on coming, so don't worry on that. Some things too. Nothing is official or anything, but it's a hope of mine to produce like an animated like episode almost. You know, like the Charlie Brown Christmas, right? I mean, everyone knows that. But I thought it'd be cool to make like an animated sort of cartoon with all the characters that people are familiar with in the comics. Nothing official on that, but that is just something that I'm hoping to do. So somewhere along the lines that will start developing, I'm sure.
Oh, that sounds exciting. That's really cool. Well, I can't thank you enough, Josh, for hopping on. I know you got to get to Mass. So
yes.
We'll pray for you. Pray for us, please. Please pray for
Absolutely.
us. But you're always welcome on the show, Josh. Just throwing that out there. I know you can't make our after show clubhouse, but perhaps next time.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Josh. Take care. You can find him at the Catholic Cartoon on the web browsers. I'm sure YouTube soon when he's talking about those cartoons, but on Instagram, Facebook, X formerly known as Twitter, he's all over the place. But hey, if this is your time to listen to Mass coming up next, please pray for us. Like Josh is going to be praying for us. We'll pray for you as well. But you got to stay for our after show clubhouse. This is where we take things, keep them relaxed. But hey, if we don't see you, we'll see you bright and early tomorrow. But stay tuned for our after show clubhouse.
This has been Morning Joy, where truth matters, hosted by Keith Downey. Take some joy with you today. Visit grnonline.com/joy to listen again, share a segment, or answer the question of the day. That's grnonline.com/joy.